Georgia Cherry Pools.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you all the way from Toronto, Canada.
Yes, sir. Yep.
What's y'all's, individually, what's y'all's earliest memory of music, as far as you can remember?
I remember listening to like my sister's Backstreet Boys CDs, and like walking from the top of my lungs because like they make great music. So that's like my first ever memory of me, like I guess really liking music and performing it in my bedroom.
My dad playing Hank Williams Jr. and I was jamming it on a hockey stick as Canadian as it is running around. And then my uncle was like, he saw me and he sent me a guitar, and it all went from there.
I was like super young, and my dad took me to see April 1, and I sat side stage and watched the whole show, and that was it for me.
How old were you?
6 or 7. Yeah, no, I was young.
You got your first drum player, right? First drum player.
And did you guys meet on a music note, or did you meet in school, or how did you guys all meet?
So I met Sean about early summer, late spring. I found him actually online on YouTube. He was performing like Justin Bieber covers, and I like messaged him, and I was like, yo, like what are the odds that you like want to join the project or whatever? He was down, and then from that point on, Sean found Matt in sometime in August on Instagram. Matt also makes like YouTube videos and stuff, so I have to throw that in. And then I found Callan off of Facebook, so like all off social media, which is cool.
What's one positive aspect you guys brought from the Curses days?
To just have fun, like perform music, you know, just remember why we really do it in the first place. Because I feel like sometimes it gets to like, you get too caught up in the business and whatever, but I really wanted to keep that sense of, you know, enjoyment first, you know, instead of like, and I feel like the fans feed off that as well, so.
What was the story behind the name Cherry Pools coming into 2018 and releasing 2 singles under that?
So we were going through like a whole like name change kind of thing, and I remember the name Cherry Waves was brought to the forefront, and our record label denied it because there was a band in the UK by the name Cherry Waves, and like that name stuck with me until like a couple months down the road, and I was sitting by a pool at our producer's house, and I was like, I had my feet in the pool, and I was like, Cherry something, Cherry what, and I like racked in my brain, and then all of a sudden it just like dawned on me, and then I sent it to our manager, and like it all snowballed from there.
The best advice often comes from producers. What's the best advice that Anthony Calabrata has given the band on a musical note?
I guess just take risks. Like he never pigeonholes himself to like any sort of sound or whatever. He's always thinking abroad and thinking how we can make it diverse and whatnot. And he's always been a huge advocate of that. And myself and him, we met super well. I've been recording with him since I was 16, 17. So it's also, he understands me as an artist and as a friend, and it's just super fluid, which is awesome.
How did the band and Daniel Shikatelli link up and get some writing in? So he got a writing credit?
So Dan actually has been like a friend of mine as well for like a good portion of my life. We played in bands together, and he's always been a phenomenal songwriter. And he didn't really, I guess, he really didn't have the proper project to kind of showcase his talent. And so when Cherry Pools arose, like me and my manager would hit him up and we're like, yo, like, what are the odds that like we could co-write some songs together? And from that point on, he's been a huge involvement. He's actually produced our latest video that we shot in Los Angeles. He directed Forever Young, which is out on social media. And he's like all hands on deck on this project in all aspects, which is really awesome because he's like obviously not a new project, not in the band, but he's definitely a huge part of himself.
And what was your writing process like on Are You in Love for the band's sake?
So as far as songwriting, it's usually myself and Dan in the studio, and then I obviously present to the other guys and see what they vibe and whatnot. So we kind of just hop in the studio and kind of just want to write like a fun, upbeat kind of, anthem, kind of summer track, I guess. So
are you more writing on your phone, or are you more writing like?
we start with like melodies. We start with melodies and stuff like that, and kind of work from there and build up instrumentals. And like we usually start with the top line, like a chorus, and just kind of build out the kind of thing. So, which is I find personally myself the easiest way, because I feel like the chorus is the most important part of the song. It's repeated twice or three times. So yeah, so kind of just build from there and then work your way down.
Why was Raul Gonzo the right director for your video Are You in Love, which just premiered?
Yeah, 100%. So Raul, I don't know if you've seen his Instagram like that, right? So yeah, his Instagram alone, like when our American manager Matt, he like presented Raul to us, I scoped his Instagram obviously, and it was crazy because like that's the aesthetic that I had in my head before even working for the music video. And so as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yes, let's lock it in, let's hop on a phone call. And so we went back and forth. I built like a storyboard and legit, like I worked with a couple directors in my time. So, and this has been like the most easiest and most like positive response I've ever gotten from a music video. Like the turnaround super fast. He understood the vision. He executed like everything. He's an awesome dude. We're definitely going to shoot more music videos in the future. I can always say that. We shot 2 in Los Angeles, so the second one is on its way. I can't get too much about that yet.
I'm curious, what can you tell us about Beach Road Studios?
That's actually a studio in Goderich, which is a couple hours from Toronto. It was the first studio that I ever went to record in, and just kind of like experience the whole vibe. It's super nice. It's in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. It's a really inspiring place to write and record stuff. I don't know.
Is it true you visited the studio for the first time with your father?
Yeah, I was 13 or something. Skipped a day of school and tracked all day instead. Rock and roll.
You got like a certificate from there.
Yeah. I took a production course there too and got my certificate from C3 Meyer, who runs the studio.
Oh, great.
If there's any brains behind like gear and stuff like that with this project, it's this guy.
And speaking of that, he's got his brand new Fender P right here.
Obviously, he has his axe next to him at all times.
Always with me.
Always plugged.
Love this thing.
It's a Fender 51P and Seafoam Green.
Will you work with Gord Pryor on new music?
We're always just like jamming at home in the living room. We get to try stuff. Yeah.
Gord is he's awesome. He understands like the whole tour life, and like it's kind of crazy that like he's seeing stuff right now. So
that's wild. That's a testament for sure.
Yeah.
It's since y'all are from Toronto, I feel like it would just be remiss for me not to ask what are your thoughts on Drake? What he's done for the city.
I got an OVO hat on my bag.
Definitely put the city on the map.
Is he one of your influences, would you say? Or?
I was like into Take Care, like that's when I was like really into Drake.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like whatever. I like his new stuff that he just released. It's dope. Like I catch it here and there. I don't really listen to it all the time, but he's dope. You have to appreciate him as an artist.
It was very cool when you could see Drake, Bieber, and The Weeknd top 3 in the whole entire world. It's very inspiring to be a Canadian musician and see all top 3 spots held by Canadians when we have like 10% of the population, and there's like so many different roadblocks to be a Canadian musician, just because of where we're from, and it makes us realize that we can definitely do it.
Yeah, we were in Los Angeles and literally like back-to-back Canadian artists. Like, even from Canada's a massive country, but like just from our little South-Victoria hub, it's so many amazing artists: Alessia Cara, Justin Bieber, Drake, The Weeknd. List goes on.
It goes on and on.
Yeah,
really.
There's a lot of talent that breeds there.
What are your thoughts on how rock blends in rap these days? Seeing artists like kind of take that rock sound and
well, it's kind of like
Burn Bridge, I think. No?
I think so, because when you look back at like the 70s, like the big rock stars,
here's the
like Jimmy
stage.
Page, whatnot.
What's gonna
Nowadays, it's kind of the rappers, like the ones who get kind of like Post Malone, Drake, they're treated more like the rock stars. And I definitely think bridging the gap is key to getting like kind of band music back into like the top. I don't know, I listen to a lot of rappers.
Personally, who would you like to work with in the industry outside of
Brockhampton. Yeah, Brockhampton. Love Brockhampton. Like huge fan.
Is that are you talking like musician wise?
Yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
Brockhampton.
Brockhampton.
Yeah, Blackbear would be
that'd be amazing.
What's the best thing about being from Toronto and being a musician in 2018?
Being 2 hours late to practice because of the snow. I don't know. It's like we work it like any other city, but it's just we have our little things that we have to work around, and I don't know. Snow sucks.
Yeah, the weather sucks.
Where would you recommend tourists frequent when they're visiting Toronto? Where would you recommend a tourist will go visit Toronto, especially if they're a music fan?
Go catch a local show at the opera.
I guess any sort of venue. Like, there's even like a cool little spot called Sneak Peas. There's like a little restaurant or a Mexican place, but they also have shows upstairs and whatever. It's pretty cool too. It's really it's nice.
If you guys weren't a band, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I have no answer for that.
I actually
something in the music industry. That's good.
I was actually almost done my college program. I would have been a social media marketer and manager for brands, but being a rock star is a lot like cooler. So yeah, so I'm not doing that anymore.
How did you guys link up with Keisha Mystery for your press photos?
He's been, I guess, him and I have always had like just mutual friends, and so it wasn't until like maybe like a year ago actually, Joe actually linked us up together. I've always like known of him through like the Toronto scene. He's always been like shooting bands and whatnot, and just like linked up with it. Honestly, if in Toronto, he's like one of my favorite photographers at the moment. So he's a nice dude, and he's good at like the game. Right now, he's like taking shots at like Drake and stuff. He's doing super well. I'm so excited.
I'm not pigeonholing you guys local. Clearly, you're a national touring act. But what is how inclusive is Toronto's music scene today? Is it super like collaborative, or is it more like kind of, for the most part, a lot of artists are keeping their distance?
Toronto's a good hub for music. Like, there's a lot of songwriters, I'm sure, but the scene is kind of not really strong at the moment.
Yeah,
it's like waves, right?
I would feel our genre is a little different because when you look at things like rap, like you brought up before, a lot of artists are very proud of where they come from. You don't get that same amount of pride in bands or whatnot. So it'll be like, yeah, we work with an artist from Toronto. It's not so much like a parent, I would say.
There's not that many pop acts in Toronto, I feel.
And what's your favorite thing about the music industry today?
I feel like social media is awesome.
Yeah. How fast you can get stuff out there.
Spotify's a great hub as well. I feel like that in itself, I think, is reviving music. You know, and they're obviously still building the app and whatnot, but like it's really helping get people to the shows or get bands or artists noticed. It's just really good. Like their playlists, their curated playlists, are really good. That's pretty much it.
Your cover of Pineapple Skies and Sexual Healing, the mashup cover on your Instagram, how much of that is influencing your original music?
I've been listening to like a broad sense of music. Like ever since I was about playing in your band, I listened to all kinds of music. I don't really like any like genre or whatnot, but I personally love Miguel. I've been a fan of him for like a couple years now.
And will the band continue to cover songs as a quartet?
We're actually covering Whitney tonight, which is cool. Did a little throwback to Whitney Houston, I think, a song called How Would I Know. kind of putting our spin on it. Obviously, it's like untouchable because it's Whitney, but like we're trying to make it Cherry Pools-esque.
It's definitely a fine line because like doing something too recent, doing something like not doing the right cover, I think you definitely bring off the wall. It's kind of vibe.
What have you learned from watching bands like One Direction and BTS, biggest pop bands in the world?
Image means everything.
Yeah.
You have to be visual.
And like cohesive, you know.
Yeah.
From the aesthetic of the guitar to really address our hair.
I mean, in Atlanta we call that drip. I mean, what are y'all wearing? What are y'all, do you like fashion?
Yeah.
What do you got on that now?
Yeah, we love
literally
that.
there's no recipe for the bed. Like I literally go to a thrift shop, and I just pick up outfits that I like. There's no like, you can't put me in categories kind of thing because like I'm wearing vintage shoes, there's some matches with everything, and that makes me I guess. So, yeah.
And yourself?
Me, I've never been too much into thrifting or whatnot. Brother over here is getting me into it. We call him Mike Holmes. He builds all our, he's the guy in Toronto. He builds all our set. He kind of builds his wardrobe. It's very, it's cool. It's cooler than just going into the mall and going into H&M and finding a piece that everyone else is wearing. Kind of like fashion, music, everything kind of revolves. And I think that's the coolest thing about thrifting your fashion is you bring something back that no one's ever thought about, and then everyone's like, oh, that's fire, that's fire.
And we even try to do that with our music. We try to incorporate, you know, what once was like the past and like our modern sound. Like we kind of just mesh up anything we want to bring to the table.
And do you guys like to record on tour?
This is our first tour. This is our first show.
First
so,
show.
It's hard to
far.
say.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will because we need to take advantage of, you know, the downtime that we have on tour. Writing songs and demoing notes and stuff. Definitely it's gonna happen.
Did you bring enough Belmonts for the tour? Since those are your favorite. You said if it's not a Belmont, it's not a real cigarette.
Man has done his research. No, we didn't.
They literally brought 16 cigarettes, 16 Belmont cigarettes, and
That was it.
that's through the first hour.
What can we expect after this tour wraps from Cherry Pool?
We expect another single, video, that kind of stuff.
More tour.
Maybe some tours coming up. We have an album definitely in the near future. I'm gonna be focusing on like writing and whatnot. So there's a lot like on the back burner that we can't really discuss right now, but there's a lot coming down the line.
Where do you see yourself by the end of the year?
Hopefully in a more, I guess, larger scale. Hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully, like this tour helps with just reaching out to people that have never heard of us, and like that spawned into like more fans and whatnot. But hopefully, we're gonna keep grinding, keep getting our name out there as much as we could. Yeah. Other than that, touring, releasing music, we're not going anywhere. So we're definitely staying here. And, hopefully people can take that back and benefit.
Cherry Pool is signing off. Y'all have a great show tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
For sure. Thank you, man.